Hello everyone, good afternoon and a very warm welcome to our webinar today all about online payslips in Sage 50 Payroll. My name's Duncan, I'm your host and presenter for the webinar, and I am joined by my colleague Alice, who's standing by in the background, ready and waiting to answer your questions. So I'll start things off by taking a look at the setup process, which will involve creating your HR admin user and then setting up which employees you want to use online payslips. We'll then go into a demo on how to upload your payslips and, if you want to, your P60s for the previous tax years. And then we're going to take a closer look at the Sage HR online portal, and we'll look at some processes to do with starters, leavers, and importing employee updates, keeping your HR and payroll records nicely in sync for any changes of personal details, etc. And then just at the end, we'll have a quick look at the employee portal and the mobile app your employees can use to access Sage HR, and I'll run through where you can find further support with all things online payslips. So first thing we're going to cover in the demos today is setting up online services. Now, this is something that comes included with your payroll subscription. What I would say though is if you're an accountant, you do have an option for online payslips, but you would use Online Bureau, which is a slightly different process and a different way of hosting payslips and P60s online. But for everyone else, Sage HR is where you'll find your online payslips and P60s. And getting started and getting set up is just a case of running through a 7-step setup process. Now you'll see the steps on the slide just there, and to give you an overview of what's happening when you complete each step. So to start with, in steps 1 to 3, you'll be creating your main Sage HR admin user, and to do this you'll be signing in with a Sage ID or a Sage online account. So you'll enter an email address and password. That will become your admin user. And then you've got the option of setting up additional payroll users and giving them permission to upload payslips as well. In steps 4 and 5, you'll be setting up your employees, ensuring that they have a unique email address. And then if you want to, you can upload their historical payslips, which will set up their profile and invite them to start using online payslips. Step 6 is to configure whether you want to show or hide holiday information on payslips if you record holidays in Sage 50 Payroll. And step 7 is a handy link to your company's online portal. So I want to show you some of these steps in a bit more detail. So I'm just going to bring the slides down and just switch over to Sage 50 Payroll. And to show you where you can find these settings, you would start from the company tasks here on the left-hand side, and then you would click onto online services settings here on the left. Now, for the purposes of this demo, I have already set it up, but you can see here the 7 steps that you would need to work through. Now, step 1 is to log in with a Sage ID, which will become your main HR admin user. And we do strongly recommend that you use a generic style email address rather than an employee's email address to be your admin user, which will give you a bit more flexibility if you ever need to pass on that main admin user, if you were to leave the business or change roles and someone came in and replaced you. Now, when you sign in, you may need to complete 2-factor authentication for your Sage ID. So that might involve either using an authenticator app or receiving a text message with a code in order to securely log in. Step 2 is another one-time process, which is to register for online services. And when you've completed those first 2 steps, you'll see that a tick appears on the right-hand side. And these are the only steps in the settings that will be ticked, because for everything else, you can go in and out of those steps as many times as you need to. Step 3 is around managing access to online services. So if I click onto step 3, you'll see that I do have some additional payroll users set up. So I've got a different username for myself and for Alice. And you can see you can set access within the program to the online payslips option and to make global changes to online payslips. In the section underneath, you'll find any email addresses that are authorized to upload the payslips. So I've got the email address that I used as my main admin account, But if, for example, Alice had her own email address and I wanted her to use that email to upload payslips, I can add additional email addresses in this bottom section, which will then give them kind of upload permissions. So I'm not going to make any changes here. I'm just going to save the current settings, and then we can move on to the steps for setting up your employees. So if I click Do It Now next to step 4, you'll see there's a line for each of my employees. And if there's an existing email address stored in their employee record, you'll see the email address entered here. And it's just a case of selecting which employees you want to set up for online payslips. So it doesn't have to be everyone. You might wish to start off with a small pilot with a few of your employees, and then you can come back and tick the names for people you want to add a little bit later on. So either select the individual boxes or tick the box at the top if you want to select everyone in this list. So that will set up your existing employees. If you do take on any new starters, you'll be able to set them up at the point you create their employee record by simply selecting the online services checkbox. So we've got a unique email address. We've ticked the box. I can save step 4. And then if required, you can then upload historical payslips, giving your employees access to these previous payslips in Sage HR. Now, if these are the first payslips you'll be uploading, this is the point at which your employees will be invited to use online payslips. So they'll get an email asking them to register and create a password. But if you decide not to upload historical payslips, they'll be invited to the service the first time you upload their current payslips as part of your pay run. Now, to send historical payslips to the portal, you would click Do It Now next to step 5. You would then enter a date range. So if, for example, I wanted to upload all the payslips for this tax year so far, I would enter from the start of the tax year up to the last pay date that I processed. You can then select which employees you want to upload historical payslips for. And again, you can select all, like so. And then it'll confirm the number of payslips for that date range. And then it's a case of clicking Publish Payslips to get them uploaded. Now, I'm not going to publish these ones because I've already uploaded some historical payslips for this demo, but I did want to show you the steps and where to find them. Now, step 6 gives you the option of displaying holiday entitlement on payslips if you record your holidays in Sage 50 Payroll. So if you see in the option to show the holiday, that means that they're currently hidden, and you can show holiday information by clicking Show. Or if that option is saying hide, it means that they're currently being shown, and you can click hide to hide the holiday entitlement. So in my example, holiday entitlement is hidden because I am not using Sage 50 Payroll to record holidays. And the final step is to visit your online services. So if you click onto this option, go to Portal, it'll take you to the unique sign-in page for your company. And you'll be able to share that sign-in page with your employees if you want to give them a direct link to sign into Sage HR. And that's a handy way for you to get to the portal as an administrator if you haven't already bookmarked it. So you can come in, complete any of the steps from step 3 onwards as many times as you need to. So that's everything set up. And just to expand slightly on inviting the employees. So if during the setup process you decided to upload historical payslips, your employees would receive an email inviting them to register for online payslips. That email looks something like the image on the slide here. So there'll be a link to create their Sage ID. So they'll be logging in with the email address and a password of their choice. And once they've created that login, they can then log into Sage HR via the web portal, or they can log into the Sage HR mobile app on their smartphone. Now, a quick note, the welcome email expires after 24 hours. So if you are setting this up for employees, it'd be a good idea to give them a heads up that they'll receive a welcome email and they need to take action ASAP. If the welcome email has expired though, you can resend it, and you can find all the steps to do that by following the link there to our help center. So now that we've got everything set up, what I want to show you next is uploading payslips and P60s. And this becomes part of your usual payroll process or the year-end process when it comes to P60s. And you should find that it's going to save you a load of time, as you can upload your payslips in literally a few clicks. And there's no more dealing with sending individual emails or even packing and posting payslips out to your employees. So a quick look at the screen for uploading payslips. So when you go into this, it's one of your payroll tasks. So it's at the same time you do your pre-update reports, you would upload your payslips. It will display a summary of the payslip information that's about to be uploaded, and then you will have two options. You can either schedule the payslips to go live on a particular date in the future, so give yourself a head start, meaning that that's all done and set up, ready for pay date. Or there's an option to publish them immediately so that they are immediately available to your employees. They'll get the notification as soon as you upload them, and they would then be able to log in and view their payslip. So I'm going to show you the payslips, and I will also show you how to do P60s. So I know it's not year end right now, but it is possible for you to go back and upload the P60s for previous tax years. So let's just bring them slides down again. And we'll start with uploading payslips. So this is done as part of your payroll tasks. So I've already set my process date. I've selected my employees. I've been through to enter all of their payments and run a pension assessment if applicable. So your next step would be to print your pre-update reports and check you're happy with the information that you've entered. And if everything looks good, you would select the option to upload online payslips just here in your payroll tasks. And as you saw from the slide just now, this is the summary of the payslips we're about to upload. So 5 payslips for this period, showing the gross and net pay value for each employee. Now the options around when these will be published are found here on the right-hand side. So if you want them published immediately, you would choose this option here. And as soon as you click Publish Payslips, they are then uploaded and made available for your employees to view. Or you can schedule them for a selected date. So if, for example, I wanted to make these live a couple of days before pay date, so maybe on Monday the 29th of July, I can set that as my publish date. And then when I click onto Publish Payslips here at the bottom, it will still upload them to the Sage HR portal, but the employees won't be able to see them until that publish date. So we can see confirmation here that these payslips have been successfully set to publish on the date specified. There's no further action needed, although it is possible to make changes if required. So if you need to go back and make a correction to an employee's payment, you would simply upload the payslip again, and that would replace the existing payslip with the one that you've just corrected. Now, again, there's a link to log into the portal directly from here if you want to view the information as an admin. But I am already logged in, so I'm going to bring that up on screen for you. And then to view the payslips that you've uploaded, once you're signed in, you would go to the payslips area here on the left-hand side. And you can see here at the top of the list, I have 5 payslips for my 31st of July pay date, all with the status of pending, meaning that they're uploaded but not visible to the employees at this point. And it shows me my publish date, which in this example will be the 29th of July. Now, as an admin user, you can view any of these payslips by simply clicking on them, and you'll see the same view that an employee would see when they come to view it in the online portal. There will be options to download individual PDF payslips should you need to, or you can make a selection and you can download them all as a single PDF by clicking this link here. So that's a copy of the payslips if I needed one in PDF. or you can even download as a zip file containing individual PDFs. So just a few of the things you can do as an admin user when it comes to the payslips. And you'll see the employees payslip view later on in the demo. Now, other thing I want to show you is uploading P60s. And this will be done as part of the year-end process. But if you want to upload a P60 for a previous tax year, you can. It's as simple as setting your process date back to the 5th of April of the tax year that you want a P60 for. And then you can head over to the year-end tasks and you can upload from there. So let's do this now for the tax year that ended on the 5th of April 2024. So that was the 2023 to 24 tax year. So I start by changing my process date to the 5th of April. And then if you go to the payroll year-end tasks here on the left-hand side, you can choose the tax year. So 2023 to 24 is the tax year that I want to do. And then if you click onto produce P60s, you'll see from here, there is an upload option. When you upload P60s, there's no option to schedule them. So these ones will be published immediately. So we would just select the employees that we want to upload for, click the upload button. And then once they are uploaded to Sage HR, we'll see a confirmation message on screen. So these have been successfully published. And if we access online services, so still in this payslips area, but this time choosing the P60s tab, I can see that I now have P60s for the employees that I employed at the time. So just refresh there. So these are the P60s published on today's date. So again, you can view them on screen like so. You can download the official document as a PDF. So that's uploading your payslips and P60s. Just a quick recap of those steps. So current payslips are done as part of the pay run. So you'll see this screen here and you can choose whether to schedule or publish immediately. And as we've just seen for P60s, set your process date back to the 5th of April. And then from the payroll year-end process, choose the relevant tax year and then go to produce P60s. And historical payslips, if you want to upload a payslip for a period you've already updated, you would go to the online services settings in your company tasks, and you would run step 5 from those 7 tasks. Now, there is a bit more to Sage HR online services than just payslips and P60s. So what I want to do for the second half of this webinar is to explore the online portal in a bit more detail. And I want to show you some things that you can do integrating HR with payroll in terms of starters, leavers, and also importing updates to employee personal details. So first thing we're going to do is start with a quick tour of the online portal. So if I just bring these slides down again. And I'm already logged into Sage HR. Now your navigation will all be done from the options found on the left-hand side. So if you're using the free version of Sage HR that you get with Sage 50 Payroll, you'll see these 4 options here, dashboard through to reports. But if you're one of our package customers, or if you've subscribed to any additional HR modules, you will see other options here in the navigation bar, depending on the modules you have access to. Now, working top to bottom, it starts with a search option, which is a handy way of quickly finding an employee just by typing a few characters of their name. You can then open that employee profile like so. You can view your dashboard as an admin, which gives you some tasks to try out, and also a handy link to the knowledge base or the help pages here at the bottom. You have your payslips area, which we've already seen, showing you all the payslips that are either pending or published, including the published dates. And then you have the company directory, which is where you'll find all of your employee profiles. So from here, I've got 5 employees that have been set up by uploading payslips from Sage Payroll. And I also have a couple of admin users that I set up that aren't part of my payroll. These are email addresses that are used to signing with admin access. Now, let's take a closer look at one of the employee profiles. I'm going to click on employee 1, and it starts off with some employee information. So the name is grayed out. It can't be changed from here because it links to Sage 50 Payroll. But if an employee got married, for example, or changed their name, you can make the change in payroll, and those changes will be pushed across to HR when you upload the payslips. So some of the contact details are found here, as well as the access level for this profile. So most of your employees should be assigned employee access level, which basically gives them access to their own information. But if you do have members of staff that you want to make HR administrators, so they have full access to settings and to view other employees, you can change the access level of a profile from this drop-down list. So I could set them to an administrator if this person needed administrator access, but that would mean that they do have access to settings, and potentially, if you've set up the permissions, it would give them access to payslips as well. So we've then got personal details. So these details are synced with Sage 50 Payroll. So any changes you make in HR can be imported back to payroll. Changes made in payroll will be pushed to HR at the point you upload the payslips. So same with bank account information. So this is shared with payroll, but as an added layer of security, if a bank account is changed in Sage HR, administrators will have to approve that change before it can be imported into payroll. And then you've got the employees' individual payslips and P60s. So everything that's been published. So for me, it's up to the June pay date. And this is where the employee can view their information, download a copy, and also view P60s if you've uploaded these as well. So those are our employee records or employee profiles stored in HR. And then there is a reports area. Depending on which modules you have in HR, you may see some reports for those modules. With the free version, you get your terminated employees report. You can export employee details, and then you've got access logs. So this shows you who's currently logged in, who logged in the last 24 hours. And it's one of the ways that you can resend welcome emails. So if anyone's never logged in, the welcome email expired, you can resend it using the link here. So that's how you find your way around. The other area I want to quickly show you are the settings. So to get into the settings, you need to be logged in as an admin. You click on your admin username at the top of the screen, which in my case is my email address. You go to the settings option here on the left-hand side, and then you can work your way through the various settings. So on the general tab, I've got the option of uploading your company logo, which can be displayed in the header, replacing the Sage logo at the top here, and also on your company login page. So nice touch if you want to personalize your portal. Permissions, it's quite an important area. So there are global permissions that you can set, which controls what information is visible in all employee profiles. So this gives you a way of switching off things like bank accounts if you don't want these shown in Sage HR, or even personal details, as well as selected fields that you might not have a need for. The employee permissions, just here on the left-hand side, has an option to allow employees to access their payslips after they've left. So when dealing with leavers, if you are putting their payslips in the online portal, they might need some time after their leaving date in order to log in, download all of their documents. So you can allow them to access payslips after termination for either 7 days, 30 days, or 1 year. So that's a setting that you can enter here. And I will show you a bit more about levers later in the demo. But the other area I want to show you is security. So if you do want to add an additional layer of security for your employees when they access Sage HR, you can enable two-factor authentication. So you will need to use two-factor authentication for the admin users, the main admin, but you can also set this up for employees as well, so that they would need to enter a one-time password in order to get in. So you can learn more about it and you can set it up from the security area in your settings. So that's just a quick tour of the online portal. And just to recap what I've just shown you there. So navigation is all done on the left-hand side. You've got your dashboard containing some useful links. You can view the pay slips that have been uploaded or published. You've got the company directory where you can access all of those employee profiles. You've got some reports and you've got settings. So global and employee permissions we had to look at, and also a bit of extra security if you want to enable two-factor authentication. What I want to talk about next up is a bit about the integration between HR and payroll. So we'll start by looking at starters. So as you know, you can create a profile in Sage HR by creating an employee record in payroll and then uploading the first payslip. But another way you could go about this is to set your employee up in Sage HR to start with, and then import those details into payroll. And that way, if you do have our core HR module, you can start to use some of the onboarding tools and set up workflows for that employee's onboarding journey. Similarly with leavers, you can record leaving details in Sage HR by terminating the employee. And then once you've paid them for the last time in payroll, you could just run the leaver wizard as usual, or there is an option of importing the leaving date from the HR system. So I do want to try and give you a quick demo on starters and leavers. So let's just jump back to HR, bring these slides down, and I'll start by adding an employee in HR and show you how to import that into payroll. So I'm starting here from the company directory where you've got an option to add an employee. You could also find it from the quick actions. Do a new employee from here. I need to enter some basic details. So I'm going to enter the employee's name and the email address that they'll be using to log in. I'm going to record my employee's start date. So it started back on the 1st of July. And we can choose whether at this stage to send them an invitation email, which you might do if you're going to start to use some of the onboarding tasks that come with core HR, or you can clear this box and they'll be invited to use HR when you upload their first payslip. Now, once you've entered these details, you'll then be asked to enter further employee details in order to send this record to Sage Payroll. So if you work through this form here, so start by recording the date of birth. It's going to pop in now. Marital status and gender. It's going to pop a couple of address lines in. And then you can provide the employment details that would be used to set up their employee record in payroll. So I've got the start date. You can choose which starter form they've given you. So it might just be a starter checklist, formerly P46, or you might want to enter their P45 details by choosing the P45 option. You can then enter P45 information down here. So once you've selected a starter declaration, enter details such as the NI number. Just need to pop in the contracted hours and the employee's pay. So this is a monthly paid employee. I'm going to put their monthly salary in, and you finish off with some bank details. If you don't have these to hand, You can enter dummy details like I'm doing now, and then they can be replaced in Payroll once you have that information to hand. So by filling in this form and saving the employee in HR, you are then able to import those details into Payroll, which will set up the employee record. So switching over to Payroll now, I'm just going to return to my Payroll tasks, just set my next pay date. And you'll see there is a task right at the beginning of your payroll process to import employee data. And this is where you can sync changes that have been made in HR with Payroll. If I run this now, it does prompt you to take a backup first, which I would do if I hadn't already taken one. And then you can see that I do have a new starter to import. You can click on this tile here, and it will actually show you the information that was entered in HR. So you can have a quick check through this, make sure you're happy with the details you're about to import, make any required changes if you need to. And then if you select the record, you can go ahead and import it. Just clicking yes to continue. And if I close out, you'll see that I now have my new employee added to my list. And to enable them for online services, all I need to do is go to the Analysis tab and tick this box. So this means that when we upload their first payslip, that will be added to their HR profile, and then you'll be able to start syncing information between Payroll and HR. So I'll just do that now. I've already got my pay date set. I'm just going to check the payments have been entered for this period. So I've got some salary details and some deductions. I'll go to the option to upload the online payslip. And for this one, I am going to publish it immediately. And that will then invite the employee to start using online payslips. And if I look back at the admin portal, I can go back into employee 6, and I will now find that they have their first payslip linked to their profile. So that's how you can add them in HR and import the details into Payroll. Said we would cover leavers as well. So to record leaving details in HR, you would need to terminate an employee. Now this will remove their access to Sage HR unless you've selected the option to allow them to have access to payslips after their termination date, which I have. So let's say that employee 6 has decided this job isn't for them and they're actually leaving 1 month after they joined. I can just go into their profile in Sage HR. I can click the terminate option here at the bottom of the screen. We can record the last working day. So they did the full month. They've actually found another new job. Can add any additional comments, and then I can click terminate. So after their last working day, they will no longer appear in the company directory, and they'll have 30 days from that date because of my settings to log in and to download any of their documents. Now, because we've terminated them in HR, what I would now be able to do, and you would do this after you've updated records when it comes to leavers, is we can import the leaving details. So if I go back to the option to import employee data, what I should find now is that we have a leaver to import. And because I have completed their final pay, I did that in July, I can select the employee and import the leaving date. And once that's done, you'll see that they have a status of leaver. All I would then need to do is to produce their P45 which I could do by printing it or emailing it from the reports option. So I've got my P45 plain paper, and that will pull through the leaving date that I imported from HR. So that's a little bit on starters and leavers. Last thing I want to show you in terms of integration is importing personal detail changes. So I'm going to show you the employee profile for one of my employees. So it's kind of a basic version of the admin portal where the employee has their own dashboard. They can access their profile, which will show them things like personal details, banking details, and they've got their access to their pay slips and P60s. But they now have self-service to update their personal details. So if the employee has moved house, for example, they can change their address just here. And then if they save these changes, those changes can now be imported into Payroll. Now looking back at the admin login, so if I just switch back as an admin, I can look at that same employee profile and I can see that the address has updated immediately in Sage HR because this is all online. But when it comes to Payroll, I still have the old address recorded in the employee record. But when I next import employee data, which I'll do right now, you'll see that I have employee updates to import. I can view what's changed before I import it. So I can see here it is the address details that have been updated. I can fix any formatting issues if I need to. And then I can select and then import those changes. So as long as you run this task at the start of each pay run, you can be sure that your HR and your payroll records are kept in sync. And looking at the employee record now, you can see that the new address is now recorded. So that's probably about it for the integration, but just to give you a quick recap on importing employee updates. So it's one of the tasks at the beginning of your pay run after you've set the process date. So if you are linked to Sage HR, we'd recommend that you run this task just to check for any changes. And then the process of importing them is that you can view the details first to see what's changed and make any minor changes to the information that you're importing. And if you're happy with it, you would select the employee and import the data, and that will then make the change in your payroll records. Now, one thing that can't be changed using this process is an employee email address. So there is a specific process you need to follow to update an employee's email address, which involves removing the profile from Sage HR, the existing profile with the old email address. And you do that by terminating the employee and then removing that record in HR. You can then change the email address in Payroll. And then if you go into your online services settings and upload historical pay slips for that employee, it'll set them up with a new profile with the new email address, and you'll have added the historical pay slips at the same time. So won't go through that in the demo, but I have linked to our step-by-step guide should you ever need to change an employee's email address. So just to finish off, I want to briefly cover the employee portal and the Sage HR app. Now, you've just seen the employee portal where we changed the employee's address details and then imported those changes into HR. And you can see it has a similar structure to the admin portal. There's a dashboard with some useful links. The employee can access their own individual profile, maybe to add a photo, to view and update their personal and bank details. And then they have access to their pay slips and P60s, which can be viewed on screen, downloaded as a PDF, and then printed from the PDF if they need a printed copy. So they can sign in either from your company's sign-in page, or if they go to sage.hr, they'll be able to log in from there as well. But they also have access to a mobile app, which gives them convenient access on the go to their payslips and P60s. And that can be downloaded from the Apple App Store and the Android Play Store, or Google Play Store. You can see there's some screenshots. They'll be able to access payslips and P60s. They'll see a little graph showing the latest payslip that they've received. They can click onto that payslip to view further detail or view the full payslip in the app. And you can see there at the bottom, they do have the download option if they do need to download and share a payslip from their mobile device. And you can read more and you can share this help article with your employees about viewing their payslips and P60s following the link on the handout. So that is about it for the demonstrations, but we will stick around just to make sure that we have answered any questions that you're sending through. And I also want to mention some of the further support that we have available to you guys, starting with some of our other upcoming webinars. So this month and moving into August, we have sessions on starters and leavers, the HMRC secure mailbox and mastering mistakes. And then from the 6th of August, we have several dates for our What's New in version 30.02 webinar, which includes some exciting new changes to do with HR integration, where it will be possible to import leave information from Sage HR and view that information in Payroll. So for a look at that and to see what else is new in the latest version, get yourself signed up to our What's New webinars. Also have sessions on getting your payroll done, attachment of earnings and variance reporting. You can find all the details on our website, sage.co.uk/webinars. Another great resource for you is our online help centre, sage.co.uk/help. If you follow the links for Sage 50 Payroll, you'll find a hub dedicated to online services and Sage HR online services. So you can read more about the setup process and using it from there. You'll also find contact details for our support team should you need them. So just look for the Get in Touch options once you've selected the topic that you need help with. Another fantastic resource for you is Sage University, available at sageu.com. Once you've created your completely free profile, you can find your way to the Sage 50 Payroll Learning, and you can then complete our e-learning courses at a time to suit you. You can do online certification and complete the bite-sized learning courses on various payroll topics. So do check that out if you haven't already. So I'll just take this opportunity to thank you all for joining us at the webinar today. We are going to stay online and keep the webinar open to continue answering questions in the Q&A. So if you have any questions, do submit those in that questions section. If you'd like a copy of our handout, it is still available to download from that documents area. We'll be sending you a follow-up email later on today, which contains a link to view the recording of today's session, if there's anything you want to watch back again or to share with a colleague. So look out for that in your inbox. And when you leave the webinar or when we end it, we will invite you to take our webinar survey, which is a great way for you to give us any feedback on what you've seen today or any suggestions perhaps for future webinar topics. So we'd love to know what you think if you can spare a moment or two to complete the survey. So if you are leaving us now, thanks so much for joining us. I'm going to go on to mute just for a few moments to make sure that we've dealt with all of the questions. And I will come back to say goodbye when we're about to close the webinar down. So I'll speak to you shortly. Hello again, everyone, and thanks to those of you that have stuck around until the very end there. I see that Alice has managed to answer all of those questions, so massive thank you to Alice. And we are going to call it a day there. So thanks once again for joining us. If you wouldn't mind completing our survey as you leave the webinar, I'd very much appreciate that. And do look out for the follow-up email arriving in your inbox later today. It'd be great to see you on some of our future webinars, but on behalf of myself and Alice, we'll say goodbye for now, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.